Welcome, everyone. In this episode, I am so excited. We're talking to Emily Fitzgerald of OLS Organizing. She is an organization queen and has brilliant ideas. I know you're going to get some really good nuggets from this one. Welcome to Revive Thriveology. I help women transform their lives by harmonizing their living space through holistic home practices. I'm your host, Lisa Morton. Welcome to Revive Thriveology. I'm your host, Lisa Morton, and today I'm so excited for this interview. I have Emily Fitzgerald, who is a certified professional organizer and owner of OLS Organizing. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how you got into organizing.
Well, I have always been a helper. I was getting my degree in social work and psychology, and my then boyfriend, now husband, found an article about a professional organizer in the Indy Star, and he cut it out and gave it to me. And something aligned, and I knew I would do that someday. I just had this other thought that I would be like 50 and it would be my third career, but instead I was pretty young when I started. So,
I love that.
I'm a wife and mother of two, and we have a dog. And my side hustle, as my sister-in-law says, is to fix up old historic homes. So we've done four. That's it.
How
But
wonderful.
it does kind of go hand in hand with organizing and making your space um, beautiful and functional.
Well, especially those older homes, storage was a different thing back then. The
You're
closet
right.
sizes, everything. I bet that, you really have to know what you're doing.
hmm I do
Yeah.
get pretty creative when it comes to adding storage, like adding
Okay.
window seats, adding built-ins. I've
Ooh,
done it all.
that's wonderful. So tell me about some of the clients you serve and what they're struggling with and how you help them get organized.
I would say that my niche is working moms. I love helping women because so much of that invisible labor falls on them in general. And when you're a mom and you're working, you're just juggling so many different things. I think because of my background in social work, I really love not for profits and working with
Wonderful.
like female executive directors. So it kind of runs the gamut between sometimes people might have struggle with ADHD or OCD, and they know when they can get a better system in place, they're able to manage it themselves. But
Hmm.
there are so many different life changes that impact our space. If you move, that's a huge upheaval.
Hmm.
If you switch a job or, get married, get divorced, have children, children go off to college. Like,
Right.
there's all these life transitions that kind of require our space to be reflected back. And if your space doesn't change as your life changes, usually things pile up and can get overwhelming. So sometimes people just need a bit of help to come back and find a new normal.
Okay. Okay. I love that new normal. That's a really
Mhm.
great way to approach that. So, if you have someone, they're just getting started in this journey of getting organized, do you have like three top tips or approaches to getting organized? Just even like to wrap their head around it because organizing is a lot. This.
I would
Yeah.
say I would say that the hardest part for people when they're getting started is like getting rid of things. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people get frozen because they're so overwhelmed and they don't know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
But I love to have what I call like a perpetual donate bin, whether
Ooh.
it's in your closet or somewhere else around the house. If you try something on and you don't like how it makes you feel or how it looks, don't hang it back up or fold it and put it away.
Or hide it.
Like, make the decision to just let it go.
On a recent podcast, we talked with Rebecca Condrich, who is a counselor, and we talked about mindfulness and everything. But from your approach, like, how do you encourage people to just like get through that frozen, overwhelmed state?
There are a couple ideas that I really like to share.
Okay.
One, I call it like the magic rule of three. So, in one of our renovations, all our furniture went in one room in the house, and then our stuff was like basically in the basement, and everything got renovated. So, we finished the renovation, our furniture got put away, and then the stuff from the basement that we used all the time, like pots and pans and clothes, got put away. And then there was still so much stuff in the basement. And every time I went down there, I thought, I need a whole week. I need a whole week to get on top of this. And it just felt so overwhelming. And I was frozen. So I decided that I would make a deal with myself that every time I went down there, I would just find three things to deal with. It didn't have to be a super organized or methodical approach. I just had to
Mm-hmm.
walk around until I found three things. Like, if I found something that I knew the kids definitely still wanted, I needed
Mm-hmm.
to just go figure out where it was going to live and put it away.
Okay.
If it was something that we no longer needed, I needed to get it out. So, get it out of the house, get it in my car. I
Mm-hmm.
did start a donate box that, like, okay, I've made the decision. This item is no longer serving us. I'm going to let it go. So the rule of three just really helped me not be overwhelmed and think that I had to do it all at once. And if little by little you make a change in that environment, it will start to look different and feel different. And that is when you can react differently to the space and it won't be as overwhelming. For some people, though, can you see this? For some people, I like to give them a timer. This one
Ooh.
is called a time timer. So, for a lot of people, when they look at a clock, it is just numbers flashing on a screen, or it's hands that are going around, on the clock. So,
Yeah.
the time timer is kind of magical because it gives people a way to really see time passing. It's especially great for kids, where they can really see that the passage of time is a more
Sure.
visual thing. So, and they have an app, so I sometimes use the visual timer or time timer app and even set it for 5 minutes if a client is doing like a really small thing. But if you've got a room that feels overwhelming, just set the timer for 15 minutes and just see what all you can declutter in that limited amount of time.
That's so cool. What else do you have for goodies and like tricks and such?
Sorry. Oh,
You're
oh
going to
no, now
time
it's
our
going off.
cleaning, our decluttering right now, aren't you?
Those are
What
some
other
of my
goodies do you have?
favorites.
Okay.
Those are a couple of my favorites. I do have my favorite paper organizing tool that I use for people, whether or not they're in their home or their office. So this is a Poly Project View folder. So it is closed. I don't know if you can see it. It's
Hmm.
closed on two sides,
Okay.
unlike a manila folder that's only closed on one. So this is a lot more portable. You can carry this easier and things are not going to fall out. It's also clear. So for us very visual folks, um, it's just a lot better than a solid folder because you can
Hmm.
more readily tell what is inside it. And then my tip that I came up with, because a lot of different ideas, are recycled from different places, but this one
Sure.
I came up with in my own head.
Ooh.
Um, I write I write the next action, which all credit to David Allen for that. I write on the back of a post-it note, Um, what I'm going to do, and then I stick it to the inside. So with whatever papers, might relate to the project. Because if it's on the outside, it's going to get knocked off. If you
That's good.
stick it on the front of the paper, then whenever you add or take away something from the
Hmm.
file, you're going to have to move the post-it. So stick it on the inside by writing on the back
That
of
is
the
so
post-it.
great.
And then you can do what I call shingling them, where
So
you
definitely, if
basically,
anyone is just listening, you will have to come and watch the YouTube version to see,
oh, yes,
because I think it's brilliant. You could even get color coded with different colored
yes,
post-its. How
yes.
fun.
I usually buy just the clear version of these and then
Okay.
use a different color post-it. But then you can also kind of line them up so that you can just see like a couple inches of one side. And I call it, staggering or shingling.
Hmm.
And then just have it be a little bit out of sight if you are highly distracted by different things and you've got like an L-shaped desk.
Hmm.
Put the projects on the side and then just have the one that you're working on in front of you.
I love that. That's good. How fun. I love these fun little things that you can add in, and it just because it makes a huge impact. Sometimes it's just the smallest little thing that can really
Yes,
reset and make us more
yes,
functional. And one thing I
yeah.
really wanted to talk about today with you was I wanted to get into kitchens and pantries because people love kitchen organization and
Mhm.
gadget storage and all that. Tell me about some fun things that you like to do in kitchens.
So, here's one for the refrigerator. Because I've had so many people say stuff just languishes at the back and then it just never gets eaten or whatever. I have actually measured different shelves and I will buy the biggest Lazy Susan turntable that they make and put condiments on that on the kitchen shelf, like on the refrigerator shelf, in order to really just make it so stuff can't get hidden at the back. You
Sure. It
can
like
always
falls
just
down,
spin it. Yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
brilliant.
So I actually have two of those in my own refrigerator, and that has helped a lot with,
Nice.
I don't know, maybe we're overloaded on condiments. I don't know.
You can't
Um,
have too many condiments.
I do find that like every single kitchen has more coffee mugs, vases, and Tupperware than they need. And that is an easy place to kind of pare down. Those are just things that like come in way too often.
Hmm.
Um, have you seen the OXO pop containers?
I don't think so.
I'll send you a link and you can put that in the show notes too.
How fun.
Um,
Yes, yes. Tell me
the
more.
the OXO the OXO pop containers are great because they're square. So they're square or rectangle because what drives me bonkers is different containers that are round.
Mm.
They do not maximize the space as well as a square or rectangle because our cabinets are squares and rectangle shapes. So the OXO pop ones, they seal really well. Your brown sugar will never get so dry or hard because they're airtight. And then
Nice.
they're very easy to stack. And I don't decant a lot of snacks in my house. We just go through them too quickly. But I definitely will decant um, baking products and
Okay.
nuts and things like that. So my
Okay.
whole baking cabinet is OXO pop containers.
Nice. I would love to come.
Are
I want
there
to come over and just like show up and like look in your pantry. I bet like you open the doors and the angels sing.
Oh, that's funny. Meredith is my employee is named Meredith, and sometimes when we're like, "Ooh, that was a good job, well done," we're like, the angels are singing.
I
That's
love
funny.
that.
Are there any specific
Oh
are
my
there any
gosh.
specific areas that you struggle with, like in the kitchen, or that
Um,
your clients struggle with?
it's really, I love the refrigerator idea. I think they're going to love that. Um, Pantry storage always seems to be a big thing. I mean, I don't get into a lot of like, I call somebody like you to recommend to my clients,
Right, right.
right? But once they can wrap their head around some steps, I think that's really great. And I can't imagine some of the clients you've worked with and homes you've worked on. Do you have any, memorable stories or?
Oh, definitely.
Ooh.
But I just so many. I need to start writing them down and, you know, write
There's
a
your
book or
book.
something, but
There's your
not
book.
really. Um, I will say one thing that I like to do in a pantry. I mean, I always ask how people use their kitchen, if they are a cook or a baker
Hmm.
or an entertainer or a combination. But if you like to cook like Taco Tuesday, um, or if you like to cook Italian food and have spaghetti, I like to put all the things for that meal together. So if you like to have Mexican night, then put your refried beans and black beans, your salsa, all of the things. Maybe you've got a special taco sauce or different condiments that you like to have them stored together in the pantry so that you can easily see your inventory. The same with Italian food. If you like a certain kind of pasta or pasta sauce, whatever it is, have that together so you can easily see, oh, okay, I've got everything I need for, this kind of standby meal.
I love that. That's a really good idea. So convenient to
I,
just, here's the things.
yeah,
Taco
here's
Tuesday,
the
here we
thing.
go. Meatless Monday,
Hmm.
there we go.
Rice. Yes, I do meatless Monday. Um, and then I also just encourage people, like, organize your pantry how the store organizes. So like think about what all you have for that is meal prep,
Hmm.
and have that kind of together. And then if it's snacks or if it's breakfast, all the different kind of areas. Like give the dog, if you're a pet owner and you've got all the different, animal things, kind of put that together. If you're a baker and you love to bake, find a way to get that kind of stuff all stored together. So, and then I do love the pantry storage containers that Target has. Just measure the depth of your shelf. I don't
Okay.
overdo it with, I mean, sometimes people want every single thing in a container. I usually just group like certain things. Like we have lots of, bars or whatever. I put all the
Okay.
bars in one section. So it's quick grab and go.
Hmm.
Or if your kids pack lunches for school, store the lunchbox next to all the things that they, might throw into their lunchbox, just so it's easier, like fewer steps, grab and go.
I love that. That's great. Oh my gosh, Emily, I need to have you just like come back seasonally so we can talk about different organizing approaches and what's going on in people's lives. Maybe we'll have to do like a Q&A sometime. That would be a lot of fun. We could let people throw
I
out their questions and we can answer
Yes.
them.
I call it stump the organizer. So it's
Ooh.
like, what are your trickiest situations? And then I just throw out ideas. I always
How
say
fun.
that, like, I've been doing this for over 20 years. So I've seen a lot of different places and spaces and worked with a lot of different people. So I tend to brainstorm ideas and just throw out ideas that have worked for other people.
Hmm.
But you're the expert on how you want things to look, feel, and function. And
Hmm.
so you just grab whatever idea you think would suit you the best, and you can always tweak and change things up. Okay,
It's
do I have
good.
a night? I have a minute to share a couple stories then, or a
Yeah.
story?
Yes, we
Okay,
do. Share the story. Stories are always fun. We
okay,
always make time for stories. Let's
all
hear.
right. So one of my early clients had a very overwhelming situation. So her daughter had moved away to college, and she struggled with some mental illness and shopping.
Hmm.
And my client had seen some pretty large, credit card bills or whatever. But 4 years later, when she moved home, because she had visited, but since it was a distance, she didn't
Mm-hmm.
move home in the summer. When she moved home with the largest moving van that you could rent, and it was full from top to bottom, side to side. And she unloaded it in my client's house and garage and filled a storage unit.
Wow.
And then a couple months later, she loaded up her small car and drove to the other coast to start her new job and life, leaving her mother,
Wow.
my client, with so much stuff. And my client was she was very wise, and she started to tackle things in really small ways, because it was so overwhelming. So she would set her timer
Mm-hmm.
for like 30 minutes and work for 30 minutes and then take a little break. And it's
Wow.
almost like the Pomodoro technique. If you've heard of that, like Pomodoro is a tomato timer. And so there's this whole timing technique where you like work for 25 minutes, take a 5 minute
Mm-hmm.
break, and you do that like three rotations and then take a little longer break. So she would do that multiple times in a day,
Wow.
but then it was really just so overwhelming. And so when she found me, there was still stuff in every single room of the house.
Wow.
But we determined that since she didn't have a single space away from it, it really was going to be the most beneficial to her mental health if we started in her bedroom, so that at the end of the day, she had like a place to go where she didn't see it, because it was so
Sure.
depressing. I think that like it was the last thing she saw at night and the first thing she saw in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. And so that was just, I mean, that was a really unique situation.
Sure. Well, I mean,
Um,
it's kind of wild too that it wasn't even her stuff, right? That's a whole nother
yeah.
layer.
Hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, and here's just like another like idea that I focus on when I'm
Mm-hmm.
working with clients. So this one client was she was a nurse. She was a wife and mother of two, and she was going back to school to get like another advanced nursing degree. So
Oh.
talk about like just tired. At the end of the day, she would, take off her dirty clothes, open the dresser drawer, pull on her jammies, and like slide into bed. And she said this pile of laundry is like a problem. But it was a really long bedroom with
Okay.
the closet like all the way at the one end, and then the hamper was at the back of the closet. And she said, I just can't make myself like go over there, but how can you make me do it? And I said, I'm not gonna, there's no amount of making you. Like, this is your habit right now, and that's okay. We just need to work with that. So let's move the hamper next to the dresser,
Okay.
which is close to the bed. So at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, you can at least put the dirty clothes in the hamper and then, get jammies on, crawl into bed. And so that's just an example of like store it where you
Mm-hmm.
use it. And she's like, well, I
Okay.
think that hamper is ugly. I'm like, okay, you can get a cute hamper.
You had a
Like
cute one.
you know, get a seagrass cute
Yeah.
hamper with a linen liner, and set it there. But at least then it's not an overwhelming pile. It's a manageable hamper that you can carry to the laundry room
Yeah.
when it's
Oh
time
my
for laundry.
gosh.
So,
Oh. I do love a nice hamper. I think a beautiful
Same.
hamper just elevates the laundry process. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, Emily,
Um,
we're at this point where I have the last question for you. And I
okay.
love this
Okay.
question because everyone has a different answer. And I'm just very curious what yours is going to be. What is your favorite space in your home? Like,
So off of our living room and off of the dining room, there is a sunken room. So it
ooh.
has two steps down from the living room with like a banister and railing, and then two steps down from the dining room where there are glass doors. And it's got huge, super tall, beautiful windows. It's navy, which is my favorite color, and it has a navy rug and just simple furniture, but it's just a super interesting, cozy space. It has floor to ceiling built-ins where I've got books and pictures and things displayed, so it feels personal.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, it's really pretty. It's just, I don't know, calming. I think
I
the
love the
color
navy blue.
blue is, yeah, the navy blue. There's not very much walls because it's open to two rooms and then the
Okay.
windows. But the walls that are there are bold.
How nice.
And I love a pop of
Beautiful.
color.
Ooh, yes, I can tell with your necklace. I'm like, ooh, she likes a little pop. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Oh, Emily, thank you so much for your time. I definitely want to have you back and we'll talk more organization, all that, and also just like pick your brain for ways to make our lives run smoother. I
It's
mean,
my favorite thing.
I'm just such a big believer in, your body and your space is all reciprocal. So when you can get that function in your space, your body's just going to function better and your day's just going to feel more fluid. So, Emily, thank you again for
Yes.
joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was delightful.
Wonderful. All right, everyone, that's it for today. I will see you next time. I'd like to thank our production company, Coraggio Media, the WELT 95.7 studios, and our sponsor, Good Sheet. For more information, follow the link in the show notes. Be sure to hit like, hit the subscribe button, and leave us a 5-star review. If you want to connect, find us on Facebook, and be sure to let me know what topics you'd like to hear about. Thank you so much for listening. See you next time.